Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. I'm Reina Creole, of course, bringing you that spice to sci-fi and pop culture analysis, plus keeping it real when it comes to theme parks. And in this episode of An Audience with the Queen, I have with me someone I had the pleasure of meeting over on Paulie, the Latino Slants channel, and that would be Struggle Reviews TV. How are you doing, my dear? And welcome.
I am awesome. I just want to say thank you for having me here. I'm so happy to talk to you. It's ridiculous.
Well, likewise, I was so excited to talk to you, to talk to you too. I remember when I think we were scheduled to be on Paulie's show one day and I couldn't, and I couldn't make it. And
Mhm.
Paulie's like, "Well, I got to get you and Struggles together." I'm like, "I'm so sorry," because something was going on that weekend and I couldn't make it. I was like, "Dang, I couldn't really
No,
make it." So,
this is, I'm trying to think, is this my first time? Because I get asked to come on shows or I would like to speak with you. It's always a man. It is always a man. It has yet to be a female, a woman, a black woman. I think you're the first. So I'm like really happy to be here.
oh, well, thank you. Well, I am certainly glad to have you. Glad Paulie introduced us. He's like, I really got to introduce you to Struggle Reviews. I'm like, okay. So I am so glad that he did because I had so much fun. I think it was me, you, and Nate
Yes.
from Film Threat, who I'm actually going to have him on the show pretty soon at a later date. So that was so much fun. So I was like, I have got to get you on my channel to talk to you because again, likewise, same deal with me because I'm like in the in the blurred space here. Um, Lots of men, very few women,
Yes.
and even fewer Black women who were in this sphere. So I am just beyond excited to get the chance to get a chance to talk to you. So let's start with the first thing. First of all, Struggle Reviews. Everyone's kind of got a story behind their channel name, even if that story is, I don't know, I just thought it sounded cool and I was going to go with it. So,
Mhm.
what is the story behind the name of your channel?
I wanted to get on YouTube so bad. Like, well, I'm not even say that because it started when COVID and the pandemic started and we were inside.
Mhm.
And I was telling my honey, as I call him, I was like, honey, I've always loved music. I really, get on and watch all of these film critics and they talk. I feel like that's something I could do and I could bring something different to it. And I was, all talking, no smoke. So he bought me a ring light and he's like, here you go. Like, put the phone on there and get started. I was like, okay. I was so scared. I was so scared. I was nervous. I was shaking, sweating. Like, I was like, I am really struggling. Like, I struggled so much and I just couldn't, nothing was resonating with me because I love horror. I was like, I'm going to get on here and do these horror movies. And I just couldn't do it. I was so in fear of what an audience would think of me or my voice. Like, I hated the playback. I was like, no, I'm struggling. I'm struggling so hard. I'm like, you know what? This is going to be Struggle Reviews TV. So anybody who comes subscribe, they know not to expect too much because I'm struggling. Like they know like the name, it's in the name, like this is, you're not going to get perfection here. If you are
Mhm.
subscribed, especially early on, you're going to grow with me as a content creator because I literally got on here, which I still am with my iPhone in the dream, even though I recently got some new equipment that I'm going to learn how to use. But
Yay!
yes, right, I got a microphone, it's just over there.
All right.
But I just was so scared. I was so nervous, and I was nervous because I was not being myself. I was like, this is what's popular. These are the people who critique and do commentary, especially on film. This is how they act. This is how I talk. I need to try to do that, and it was just so disingenuous, and I was so scared. So that's where that came from.
Well, that I love that story. I love that story because people will ask me, they're like, "Well, how did you get into YouTube?" I said, "I got peer pressured into YouTube." I really, really did. I'm just like, there's all these people out here who do it way better than I do. And again, this was like during the pandemic. So I would just kind of like drop in on shows, run my mouth in the chat. I always had something to say. And some folks were like, well, why don't you just start a channel? I'm like, why? Y'all doing it. Why should I go, go and do it? And so I started to get invited on shows, but I was an avatar because I was not comfortable with
Mhm.
putting my face out there. It's just like, I
Oh
don't know what are
man.
people gonna say. I don't, because that was just me. I just did not like doing that. And still it's hard when I watch the playback. I'm like, I gotta watch myself. I don't know if I don't know if that's
Oh
still the
man.
hardest thing to do is to watch the playback, of yourself. But I had so many people tell me like, "Oh, when you going to do YouTube channel? When you going to do YouTube channel?" I'm like, "I don't know." I had like 100 people follow me on YouTube and I had no content. I'm like, "What is wrong with you people? Really? Really? What is
Mhm.
what's wrong?" But you're right. It's kind of like you'll see how other people are doing it, and you're like, okay, well, that's kind of like how I should do it. And that's kind of how you start out. But as you know, it's kind of taxing. It's just like, I just need to be myself
Yeah.
and and just and just be me. I mean, I'll do stuff like review sci-fi shows and have like a glass of wine while I'm talking about it because it's so bad.
I'm just jealous you had an avatar. Like I wish I had an avatar because I didn't want to show my face because I just was uncomfortable, but I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't watch one tutorial, one video. Even though I was, heavily on YouTube, I would never comment. I was just, just there and like, oh, that was a great video. I would maybe like, but I never said anything. I never interacted with anybody, asked anybody a question. I literally recorded and posted and I was like, okay, oh, this is how I add a picture here. Oh, maybe I should do an intro. Then I can do outro. It was just step by step with every single video. But I really wish that I had started off with the avatar. I just didn't know how to do that.
No, it's okay. It's like the stuff that you learn. I mean, I'll go back and I can't believe it's still up there, but I like having it there. The
Oh
first
yeah.
video I ever did, I'm just like, okay. It's
Gosh,
still funny to go
terrible.
back. And yeah, it's just like, what is wrong with me? Why am I talking so
No,
slow?
you keep the videos.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I kept mine because literally a month ago, those movies that like the reviews that I'm so embarrassed by, like I really don't want any like I always tell people like start from last year on up. Don't go watch nothing else previous. This I'm getting into my third year now. Like go to the second one and then the first one. But all of a sudden those videos have picked up and those are my most viewed videos on my channel and have like really paid off and I'm like this is why I kept them. I'm like this is my start. I'm not embarrassed. I'm happy for my growth, so I'm not deleting anything. You keep the videos. You never know what's gonna happen.
Ooh. I don't blame you. 'Cause I'm gonna ask you about some of them actually.
Yeah, I
Oh,
blinked and something that was 200 views said, 50, 60, and 70K. I was like, y'all watching that? Like, what about all my good stuff? I've improved so much. Like, oh, yeah, y'all watching. But, I'm not saying don't watch it. Keep watching it. But I'm just so surprised that anybody would find this. And I get, the criticism underneath the video, like, oh my God, like, because I was so nervous. And when I get nervous, I get really repetitive. And then it's like, so, yeah, like, well, and it's just it's just over and over in the video and I was just so embarrassed but some people like I can tell that you were nervous and this is not you at your finest but I get what
mhm.
you were saying. I agree with the video and it made me want to go watch other things. So I'm so glad that I kept up all of my old raggedy content.
That is a very good way of looking at it because you never know who's like watching,
Mhm.
watching that stuff. Like people will say, "Oh, well, you're so polished." I'm like, you should go back and look at some of my older stuff just so you can see how how people evolve when they have channels because some people are like, I don't know if I should do a channel or not. It's like the important thing is just to start if that's
Yeah,
what you want to do. Don't worry
don't
about
purchase nothing either.
nope.
Because I see a lot of people, they ask, like, well, I'm trying to get my setup and I don't. I said, this is what you guys see, as of last year. For a year, I was sitting in the middle of my bed, probably with some wine too, giving you guys, a wine or a cigar. And I was just talking in the middle. And then I, finally saw some traction in my subs. I was like, okay, well, I don't think it would hurt. Like, this is my purchase. My main big purchase, this was my purchase. A whole $100 of my money. That was my purchase for YouTube. That's all I purchased so far.
Well, I love it. I mean, when I started, let's see, I got and I still have it, um, $35 webcam, which I just managed to get because that was when the pandemic popped off, and it's like you could already get a webcam. I have a $35 microphone, which I will keep using until it blows up on me. So I had like that. I had when I lived in Philly, I was in a part of my living room. So I kind of had like my fireplace behind me. So I just, I
Set
just
the
had
mood.
stuff. Yeah. I just had stuff up there. People are like, well, can you light the fireplace? I'm like, yeah, okay.
Okay.
But I didn't spend a whole lot really on the
Mhm.
setup because I already had figures and stuff like that. And I kind of did that, but you see some people where they have
Oh,
like a
you were
nice,
nice. I
nice
had a backboard.
studio.
People were looking at my headboard for a year. My headboard and my pillows in the background because that's all I was doing. Because once I figured out I got to because once because I didn't know anything and I got to do my research and you would see the people that have they put a lot into their channel as far as the imagery and green
Hmm.
screen and their subs are just not growing. I was like, I don't think it's that. It's you as a person and your personality and what you are giving off. That's what's getting the people in. So I'm not in such of a rush to go and purchase or try to flip out anything. I'm just gonna give myself once I actually started giving myself and then I'm going to, see what happens. And then, like, overnight, it was just like, whoa. And then I had to tap into my demographic and my niche as a content creator because I didn't know that I would be discussing old movies. Like, that's all I talk about now. I rarely do anything contemporary. People pay for old films. I did not get on YouTube anticipating that ever.
It's interesting that you say that because again, like in the nerd space, whatever, since there's so many things that are not as good as they used to be, a lot of people go back into like a lot of that old stuff. Like I had a watch party for I think Predator,
Mm.
80s movie. So many people wanted to like check that out. I'm like, y'all like this stuff? Yeah, are
Yes.
you gonna review this? You're gonna do this? You're gonna do this? I'm like, yeah, I guess so, because I'm just into movies and TV regardless, but there's like a special place for a lot of that
Mhm.
content that's from back in the day. And that is something that I've noticed on YouTube just with retro movies, retro gaming,
Yeah.
all of that. So that's cool that you found a
Yes.
niche to drop into because there's a couple of these I really want to talk to you about because I'm like, yeah, I know that movie. I know that movie because again, in the blurred space, it's funny because you have to check out this show. As a matter of fact, they're probably going to yell at me if I don't talk about it. So I do a show called The Dark Council
Mm.
with like six other guys. Again, in the blurred like five black guys, one white guy. We love you. We have this show where we will go from like pop culture to hip hop to throwback movies,
Mm.
and it's funny how that cycle kind of goes around on our particular show, but we never fail to mention some kind of movie from from back in the day
Yes.
eventually when we're talking on that show. And just looking here at your channel because I have your channel up. First of all, Harlem Nights, just to be able to see Richard Pryor, Della Reese, and Red Fox
Yes.
just go after each other was just a joy to watch.
Mm.
So
I just
So what's like it's like what made you review that particular film?
anything here that's like I'm gonna say for the past 8 months, anything I've reviewed, I'm gonna say 9, maybe 10, that somebody purchased it. Every like people come and watch, like I wish I could take credit and just pop up like, oh, I just felt like of course I wanted to review so much and dedicate so much to my channel. But by the time I became, because they paint the picture, once you get monetized and you get those ads on those videos, with my life schedule, because I am a mom of two, like I have a job, I could not do this just for the fun of it. It was I started out that way, but I kind of figured out it was like a lot more taxing and time consuming than I ever thought it would be, and it started to become a side job, like a real
Mm-hmm.
one. And I was like, oh, I love this, but I can't devote as much energy to this channel, and I don't have,
Mm-hmm.
enough subs to where I can get a decent amount of money. They just decorate. I call them decoration videos. It's just decoration, just something pretty to put on the channel because I'm not getting a dime for it. And I started to get I wasn't as motivated. And then I had one subscriber who was like, I was wondering if you would talk about do the right thing for me. And I was like, really? Why would you want me to talk about do the right thing? I was like, I love the do the right thing, Spike Lee and everything, but why
Mm-hmm.
that in particular? He was like, I just really want to hear your perspective on it, and I want to, support you. I said, okay. So it just started out as like a little supportive payment. I was like, oh, this person, sent me $10, and this is, this video is for you. And that was like, it kind of spiraled. It just took off a little bit. And I was like, this is the
Mm-hmm.
most, views I've ever seen, or just not even, I don't think it was so much views. It was just interaction from subs and people just, really, I can tell they were gravitating towards it. So what I started doing, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try it this way and like strictly become throwback. People weren't paying for anything at this point. I would just have a voting system set up on my community tab and go, hey, this
Mm-hmm.
movie or this movie this week. And they would get so involved and so into it. And then eventually I just kind of slowed up because I just couldn't do it as much because life happens.
Yeah.
And I just had people come in like, so how much do you charge? I was like, for what? It's like, for a video. Like, you want to pay me to talk about an old movie? Like, I just couldn't wrap my mind around that. I just couldn't because I'm a mom. Like, people work hard for their money, so if you want to dish out anything, and it went from so taxing, and was the price increased with demand and me just becoming more efficient with doing videos and
Mm-hmm.
the effort that I will put in, and now I'm pretty much at $50 a video. And every single, I'm gonna
Nice.
say, yeah, every single video you see here, like Megan, that's contemporary, but nobody paid for that. That's just me going to the movies with my kids and I want to talk about it. But Brown Sugar, The Bodyguard, Set It Off, Kicks, I see I Want to Dance with Somebody, that's new, no one paid for that. But like the Ease Body, everybody paid for those things. And somebody paid for Harlem Nights as well. And I have like some
Oh.
really great people on my channel. That's all I'm gonna say. They really go out of their way to support me. They even support like the price, because I didn't know I would get so involved, because a lot of these they'll go, I'm paying this much, I want you to do a skit for my video, like this person for Harlem Nights. So like, are you gonna do a skit? Like, can you open with a great skit? And I just try so hard. So I'm like, let me give these people this skit, and we're gonna shoot me in my pinky toe in the beginning of the video. So I'm playing, both Eddie Murphy and Della Reese and the whole in the alley scene, and people, they just love it, and I just love the feedback. So anything that's here, I can't, pinpoint the sub in my mind at this moment. I
Mm-hmm.
give them a shout out at the beginning of every video, but someone paid for Harlem Nights. That's why it's there.
Wow. That is cool.
Yeah,
Like
right.
um I can't remember who it was that I saw on YouTube like years ago when I was just scrolling through YouTube, not really doing anything, where some people would actually sponsor videos. Like they give a donation and say, hey, can you work on this topic? Can you work on that topic?
Yeah,
And they would go ahead and do that. So that's very cool. That's
yeah.
very nice that people can do that.
Yeah, and it keeps the content rolling because everybody doesn't pay for our Harlem Nights, okay? Sometimes it's like, oh my God, why would this person want me to talk about this? But it keeps it interesting. Like if it's anything within the year, I try to stay current to bring in new people who may not nobody's getting on YouTube every day. Like let me see what's going on in Harlem Nights. Like no,
Mm-hmm.
somebody's more so searching. Like it's different now because at the moment my older movies are performing better than it's flip flopping. The channel changes its mind every day, but I
Mm-hmm.
try to give some variety. But the people who purchase stuff and the different things that they do, like it keeps the channel really interesting because I never know what they're going to purchase. Actually, last week I had to ask them to not purchase anything because I'm like, we're booked to like summer. I love you guys, but I'm swamped.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cute, like, okay, I got 3 purchases this week or, 5 this week. And then it just escalated to where it's like, I have, almost 50 movies sitting. I'm like, I need you guys to relax.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is something. That is something else. I mean, first of all, it's like you're a mom too.
Yeah.
So no, your time is definitely at at a premium. I would say, how difficult is it for you to keep all of those balls in the air, so to speak, and do YouTube at the same time?
It's hard. Like this is the past year, my honey. I just like to because we're not married, but you get to a certain age, you can't like say my boyfriend anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a little creepy.
I'm like, honey, that feels so childish. I say, my son's father, or I just can't say, my boyfriend. But he just we had a talk and he's like, I really because I am which I use every day on my channel. I have been a kindergarten teacher for about a decade before I hopped on
Ah.
YouTube.
Mhm.
And the climate has changed so much for teaching and children, and it just wasn't fulfilling me anymore. But
Mhm.
everything I learned, like it takes a lot. Like you have to be a animaniac to keep the attention of 4 and 5 year olds. Like you just have to be really extra. And I was always that really extra, rambunctious, like
Mhm.
animated extra teacher. And once I decided to give myself to the channel, I was like, you know what, this is not me. I am not, a monotone. I'm just gonna give the facts and like I'm fun. I can be fun on here. And I'm like, whatever, it's free. What are they gonna do? Shoot me? I'm just gonna be myself and I'm gonna see what happens. But it's like I just love the growth that you're having. I feel like you're really passionate. So I feel
Mhm.
like you should dedicate more time to the channel and I'll, burden more of their responsibility, whether it's whatever, because I'm like a mom. Like I always feel guilty. Like I'm dealing with that now of just like, oh my God, I feel like I break it down and I have to because it's different when you have somebody like they pay for something, so I feel kind of obligated to get certain
Mhm.
stuff out there because I don't like people waiting. I don't want to wait for anything I paid for.
Right.
But at times I'm just like, you know what? I've been right here too long. I need to go. I'm gonna go and spend time with my baby. So I try to designate time, but I've been always like super mom. So this is different for everybody. It's been really hard. Like my son is probably like, is she done yet? Because he comes and checks like, mommy, are you finished? Like, no, baby, I'm not finished. Okay, I'll wait. So it's been an adjustment for everybody, but everybody's like really passionate. Like that, we want you to make it. We feel like you have what it takes to really find your space on YouTube. So it's really through the support of them and my subscribers because without that, I just wouldn't be able to do it. And of course, I left teaching. I have a Airbnb service where I go and clean Airbnbs, and it's helped because I get to set my own schedule with that. And any other
Mm.
time, I
Mhm.
designate it to because teaching and the first year of being a teacher, my first year was me trying to teach and do YouTube at the same time. Y'all were lucky to get like one video in a week. Like I'm trying to get 1, 2 a month. I'm trying to. I just didn't have the energy. I was exhausted. But I was like, I'm gonna try, and I told my honey, I said I'm gonna try this out for all of last year. If I do
Mhm.
not get 10K subs by the time this year is out, I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna, step away from it and get back to my normal. And then we got to more than that. Like we ended off the year with 13, almost 14K subs, and I was like, whoa.
All right.
So that was like a red light to like, okay, well, yeah, let's just keep going to see if maybe we can get to 30K this year. I just try to set a goal, and not because
Nice.
I was looking, I was like, I see people with, a lot of people designate like so much time and so much energy, and I was like, I'm just not in a place to do that with everything that I'm losing out on, to not really have anything substantial happening with the channel. Like I love it, but if it wasn't, turning some type of profit, or I didn't see any growth, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't, because I'm saying no to so many other things. It's like, well, I see you guys, whatever. I'm gonna, edit this video, or if I'm with you, I'm out. You listen to me like, yeah, I'm editing my video, putting my head down. But it's so much sacrifice being had, and I'm like, I can't have sacrifice for myself and my family and not have anything tangible happening with it.
Hmm. Absolutely. That's such a great way, to put it, because you have some people who get into YouTube and they don't have they don't have a healthy sense of, you know what, I really don't have the bandwidth right now to do all of this. Because there's some people, when I first started doing YouTube, I would see people who were cranking out videos like every day. I'm just like, do you really? I'm just like, I don't see how that's possible, because I'm one of those. I have a full-time job. It's not 9 to 5. It's more like 7 to 6, 7 to 7. It could be, sometimes. So I was just like, okay, well, this is just what I can do, and just make it entertaining.
Yeah,
As soon
never
as you,
push yourself. Never
as
push yourself past the point where it's like, because once I started to find myself getting frustrated that I couldn't, I'm like, what am I doing? This isn't paying my bills. Like, why am I getting upset that I can't? Like, this should not be the main thing. It's only now that I'm able to do that. But before, even now, if it's just like, you know
Mhm.
what, I'm exhausted, I can't give this, then I just won't do it. And somebody comes and like, well, I thought you were like, yeah, but if I can't give you my 100%, especially for something you paid for, I'm just need
Mhm.
you to wait a couple days. Like this is a day that I'm going to rest.
Mhm. Absolutely, because you do need that, because this medium can be just so taxing. I mean, I had no idea. I had no idea when I started this, just like how exhausting, but in a good way.
Mhm.
Um, doing videos, and of course, I do a lot of live streams.
Yeah.
So I remember one time I was like, okay, well, it's only going to be an hour, an hour stream, because my guest only had an hour. So I'm like, okay, that'd be
This
perfect.
is 3 hours.
That was where it was going. I'm like, y'all keep asking me questions. I need to hang this up. And it's just question after, I'm like, okay, I see what y'all doing. I see, I see
Yeah, I get
exactly.
off. I'm not a streamer. I'm trying to get like you. I'm trying to. I have a problem with like relinquishing control, because I am like, I'm not like a super social, but like people watch the videos and they assume like, oh, she's probably the life of the party. Like I'm super, I am like the most antisocial person. Like I can, give you what I need. We're talking about this movie, I can give that. But as soon as we get like live, I'm like, oh my God, you want to talk to me? Like, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? Like, I have a problem with just like, oh, this is live. Like, I can't edit and clip and like, you know what? I didn't like what I said there. I could take that out. But I'm trying to get adjusted to that, because I'm trying to be a little bit more approachable, because they love like, oh, she's on a live. Everybody come in. We don't know when she's gonna go live again. Oh man.
Oh, that's for me. I'm kind of like this, the same way. People are just like, "What do you mean you're an introvert?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I am." It's just like
Mhm.
I have a certain amount of bandwidth, and then it's like, okay, I need to like unplug for a little bit, and
Yeah.
then I'll be back. Because for me, when I started, I was just like, I don't have any videos. I hate editing. I do not like to edit at all. It
I love it.
drives me
I hate it, but I love it because I can.
crazy.
Taxing, time, forever. It takes forever.
That's the thing. It's like it's time. I mean, I have it down to a science, now, but if I'm like, say, just the fact that I just have to edit something in general, it kind of drives me nuts, which is why I kind of try to stick to stuff that I like. So like if it's a watch party for a movie I really like, I'm like, okay, this is cool, it'll work, but it's just like the work they have to put in there, slice it, dice it, do
How
that, put it
long does
together.
it take you to edit a video?
It depends on what it is. I have like a 1 to 3 rule for like every one, well, maybe 1 to 4. For every 1 minute of video, usually it'll take me 4 minutes of editing, I would say on average. But
Mhm.
when I switched up my model, which is why I do a lot of podcasts or I do a lot of watch parties, you
Mhm.
just have that chunk where the camera's pretty much going and everybody's talking.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Oh yeah,
No.
it quite is when I have everybody talking, but of course I have to like crop everybody out, rearrange it in,
And then you
in the
have
editor.
guests. Like every single video on my channel is me alone. I have never had. I'm so happy to. I just made my StreamYard account and have this. So I want to know what it is to interact with people because it's different. I'm used to it now, but you have to be so many things to carry a video. You have nobody to bounce off of, and I'm like being Lola Bunny trying to keep people intrigued because it's just me. Like, oh, so guys, and it's just really extra because I was like, I'm gonna be the most over this. Like, I have to be just it when I try not to be because I try to be the opposite of what I watch because I watch a lot of videos. I'm like, oh my god, why does this sound like the news? Like this, we don't have to make this the news. Why we broadcast? Like it's okay to be fun. We can joke. Like why so serious? Like relax. So I just try to be that. In the midst of me being that, me talking, I'm gonna sing, I'm gonna rap, I'm gonna dance. You're gonna get a skit. All of a sudden, I have a 30+ minute video I have to edit, and I have it down to where it's pretty much an hour per 10 minutes. So if sometimes I have 40-minute videos, so that's 4 hours of editing.
God bless you, because I'm sitting at the editor. I'm just like, I don't freaking want to do this. Ugh,
You
I don't
better
want
post
to.
them long videos. Once I learn like algorithms and like watch time, I'm like, oh, it's not about my subs or who's there. It's about how long these people watch. I'm like, oh, okay, because I'm so used to seeing because I that was the main comment I got. Your videos are too long. Like nobody's gonna sit for a 20-minute video. Like nobody's gonna do that. People like short attention spans. They want short content. And then I realized that's my niche. Not only old school movies, but I'm gonna make them long. We're gonna talk, and I'm gonna act like I'm talking to a friend. And this is
Hmm.
gonna be, we're gonna just chill. Like this isn't gonna be that channel. If that's what you're looking for, there are a billion other channels on YouTube to give you, a rundown of something in 6 minutes. That's just not my channel. And then once I learned that, because I've had a lot of people, they come and they're like, "How are you making whatever?" I have more subs than you. Like, I'm like, well, this is what I do. It's like, so I can, like, everybody's learning something new. I've been really surprised at the people who have been on the platform for
Hmm.
years. And they're like, I didn't know that. Like, yeah. Like, yeah, if you decide, do not be afraid to put up a longer video because even though somebody else who had a shorter video, maybe, 250,000 people may have watched it, you may have gotten more. And you just got, 30,000 views just because your video was longer and they sat and watched it longer.
Hmm. Yeah, these are the things that I'm starting to kind of like learn and figure out because I've been on YouTube for about, I want to say, was it two? I think it's like I think it's like 2.5, maybe two and a half
It's the
years.
same as me, 2.5.
But
Yeah.
it was kind of just like, just do this, just do that, just doing stuff. So I wasn't really focused.
Mhm.
But like you, it's just like people can do short videos, whatever they want. For me, I take like an analysis point of view. So if I'm watching an episode or I'm reviewing an episode, I will actually bring the episode up and I'm actually going, frame by frame, minute by minute, breaking it down because it's kind of like what I like to do and what I
Hmm.
kind of like to talk about. So there's some where, they're very quick, get out, 7-minute video. I'm just like, no, I can't do that.
Hmm.
I can't do that. So that will just have to be me and the way that I talk talk and the way that whatever.
Oh yeah.
And
We're
that,
talking too slow for that.
yeah.
I go back, I watch because I was trying to get like I can't go past 10 minutes. Nobody's gonna sit that long. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. So they're like, what she said? Like I'm trying to stay in the window, and I used to wonder why some people like why are they talking so fast. It's like I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. And I'm like that is not me. We're gonna kick back, and I'm gonna take my sweet time.
Exactly. I said I took my sweet time, even reviewing episode 1 of the second season of Batwoman, which was just so awful. But yet it's one of my highest rated videos because people just loved laughing at my pain going through this particular episode. So I'm kind of like, okay, so I guess that's my thing. Going through this stuff and just taking my time and commenting on it. And if I have time, I will go back and I will put chapters in because it's like, okay, now you can go from, from section from
Oh, I'm never
section
gonna
to
man. You
section.
so nice.
Oh, see, if I have time to do it and I remember, to go back and do it, I may do that. But yeah, that's when I started looking more into, like, oh, that's what that analytics, tabs are for. Oh, that's what people are searching,
Mhm.
kind of try to find because some people kind of try to do niche stuff. Some people kind of like to keep their channel to one thing.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person where it's just me. It's like stuff I'm interested in, stuff I want to talk about. That's like kind of my thing. So I
Mhm.
like seeing people doing channels where it's their thing. Like you
Yeah.
take your time, you are entertaining, you just are just like,
You
hey,
gotta find your thing first. It's so hard to find your thing.
it very much is because I think one time I was doing something else for a while and people were like, "Where's the so and so video? Where's the so and so?" I'm like, "Oh, I thought y'all weren't interested in it." No, 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 no. We
Mhm.
want to see. I'm like, okay, okay, fine. I'll go
Oh
back
man,
and
you guys, like I will drop something like a bad habit if it's like y'all. Oh, y'all not watching it? Okay. Like I so love my sons because they know firsthand. Like I'll have people in the comments or people come, y'all run this video, hit the like button in the chat. Y'all know if this video does not perform, she will drop it. I'm like, it's never. I won't drop it, but I want if it's. I don't make it a first priority. Like you might get the the video for the episode, but it might be that following week just because
uh-huh.
I had to. I just and it makes me feel some type of way because I've met a lot of really great people. Some not so great people on YouTube, but it's almost like it's considered distasteful to be here for profit. And I'm like, okay. And like I just had like I don't know, I was in somebody's live and it was just a whole bashing session on YouTube or creators who ask for any money or receive any payment for anything. It's like, oh, that's who you're not here for the love of film, or like I love film. I wouldn't be here and give this if I didn't love film, but I don't see the problem in wanting to be like this is a job. Like for any I
Yeah.
think it's that. And I've got a new respect for streaming because before I got on here I would always equate like the work to people who like, oh, they look like they did a lot of editing for that video. Like I know, but I would see people like, well, they have it so easy, this is just streaming, like all they do is stream. And then once people don't realize just the energy to stream, because you still have to edit streams, maybe not as much as a regular video, but it's still editing, but just the energy it takes to entertain and talk for 2 to 3 hours, it's exhausting.
Especially when you have a panel full of your friends and you just can't keep them under control for a
Oh.
while, and unless you threaten to kick them out. But I've had streams like that where
Oh
it's like
yeah.
we all know each other and everybody's bouncing off of each other, and people in the chat are just loving it, and
Oh yeah.
somebody's
Oh,
like,
they
"Hey,
love it. They
you
love
missed
the
my super
drama.
chat." I'm like, "Oh shoot, I'm sorry. Let me go back and let me go back and find it."
They love the drama. I'm always really hesitant. I always go check people out before like, can you come on the channel? Because I've seen so many people to where, not that I would do that, but I've seen people come on to a panel and
Mhm.
Like, I'm gonna play my position. Like, you're a guest. Like, people try to come and take over. Like, relax. Like, you're not, you're not here for that.
I know we get some people who, for some reason, being able to wait your turn until you can talk, or if they interrupt somebody, to at least say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, talk
Yeah.
over you. It's like they'll act like they're going to die unless they can keep talking. And it's just like, would it kill you to shut up for 2 minutes?
Minutes.
That's it. Just let somebody else get the word out. Because I've been on panels where I've had to basically say, okay, we've heard from you. We haven't heard from so and so,
Mhm.
because they haven't had a chance to talk. And there's one particular uh show on one particular channel. It seems like whenever there's a new movie review, people like to go on that channel to talk about it. One time I did, and it was like no one really got a chance to speak except for two people. And I'm just like, if you're
Mhm.
not going to moderate this is not worth my time. And
Yeah.
it's not, and it's not fair to other people. So that is kind of like the drawback of streaming, especially when you haven't vetted people in a way, so you don't quite know what you're getting
Yeah.
for
Oh
the
my
most
God.
part. Yeah.
Learned. I've had some experiences. Just let me say that I have, just because I got on here when I first got on here. I just, because I didn't know anything. I was like, I don't see a whole lot of women on this platform, especially Black women. But I know, like, if I try to reach out, or I'm going to receive, the most, welcoming from a fellow woman. No, I was like, oh my gosh, why? I was very much so surprised at
Girl.
the reaching out, because I was getting, because I just got on here, and then I eventually got to the point of people like, oh, I love your channel, would you mind joining my panel. It was always a guy, it was always a man. I was like, where are the women? Like, I want to talk to some women. I want to talk to some females. And then I started to notice that a lot of the females, like, they weren't maybe as dedicated, or they just didn't have the platform. Or I was like, you know what? I'm going to build up my platform to as much as I can build it up to. And I want to be able to have women on, not, everybody, but I want to, have it be a space to where other women can come on. And because a lot of women, or just people in general, a lot of content creators, they have a mindset of, why would I have you on? What are you going to do for my channel? You don't have a lot of backing. You don't have, we're unmatched. So why would I have you on? That's not going to benefit me in any way. And then I learned it was that. I never asked anybody like how 1+1 is 2, anything. I was like, I'm never asking anybody anything. I'm going to do what I can do and do it the best of my ability. And I'm going to see what happens. And then once I got a little growth, and then like the floodgates open of people, I was like, who are these people? Who are these people, and where were you? And it's just, it's very strange, to where you get a little growth, and anybody sees like, oh, they're interested in her. Hey, you want to be on my channel? Like, you're busy? Like, really? So I was very much surprised at that. And I've also been really surprised at a lot of people in the space that are really, really like cordial with you when they are in a certain like position. But if you are having a little bit more interaction or a little bit growth, they are indifferent towards you. I was like, what is this? Like, the cattiness. Like, I thought the YouTube community was going to be a little bit more welcoming. I was very much so surprised to see that the most welcoming, or just the warmest notations period, were from male counterparts. I was very much so surprised at that.
That is very interesting. And you are very much on point. One of the things that I've run into on this particular platform, um, I have no problem with men inviting me on panels. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, I've had lots of guys do that. The I would say, outside of a small circle of women, y'all know who you are, you know. We're like been friends for a long time, got each other's backs. So and so talking about you. What you need me to come handle that? I'll handle that. Have like that small group, but in general, you have some. I will say a lot of women on this platform who are very, very catty and are not into that. Hey, you're a female content creator. You know what?
Yeah.
Show up on my channel. Let's kick it. Let's have fun. Let me help you out. You help me out. It's all good. It's kind of like, no, what are you going to do for
Mhm.
me? And I don't particularly like you. And
Yeah.
the
Oh
back
no.
channel chatter that
No,
they don't
my
think will
favorite.
get back to you, but
No,
it
my
does get back
favorite
to you.
is, I'm a real movie critic. I don't consider what you do. Oh, okay. Like, okay.
All right.
I've had egg on my face several times as far as like, wow, okay, I'm so sorry. And I've never approached anyone to go because that's just not my way
Mm-hmm.
to go, hey, can you help me? Like, I would love to be on your platform. Like, no, I just would go, how you kind of try to like vet people, but not directly, but
Yes.
just, like, hey, like, oh, I love your channel, or I simply wanted to ask people, like, how can I edit this? Or like, what should I like, just, general questions, nothing, as far as you having me on or shouting me out or anything like that. I just wanted to talk to a person who seems to
Mm-hmm.
have been on here longer and may, have more experience. And it's just, straight like, what is your little channel going to do for my channel? I'm like, oh, okay. So after that egg, I never asked anybody anything again. And then gradually it just became, oh, I would love to have, like, I saw you, I caught your videos, I would love to have you on. And I was surprised because I was like, when the floodgates opened, as I like to call them, I was hoping that it would be, more women. And I'm not just saying, black women, just women in general. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just not that at all. And I'm hoping to, I know we can't change the world, but I'm hoping that, just, intimate moments like this, moving forward, we can, be a little bit more in unison in that way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I like treasure the heck out of, the female content creators that I've come to know. And we've been friends for quite a long time. Um, Never hesitate to reach out if you need a favor. Hey, can we do this? Hey, hey, can we do that? It's like you would hope that going forward, the community would open up more that way. But in the
Mhm.
meantime, it's nice creating those little, I would say, like pockets of safety,
Yeah.
so to, uh, so to speak. So I'm glad to have met you.
Yes.
So glad to have met you. Let's see. So what I wanted to ask you about, and this will probably be our last topic, and then I'll bounce back to your social media accounts. So one of my favorite romantic comedies. I don't know if it's going to qualify as a throwback because now there's a TV series about it. That would be The Best Man. I love that movie. Um, when Iron Man movie came out and people were like, Robert Downey Jr. is in it. I'm like, yeah, okay. And I'm like, oh, what? Terrence Howard is in it? And I'm like, who's Terrence Howard? Screw you people.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, you don't know who Terrence Howard is? You, Quentin from
That's
the
what
back.
I'm saying. What are you talking about? This around? Like, well, of course. Like, you talking about quitting? I'm like, throwback. Living single was the young man who went on a date with Maxine. Terrence Howard. What are you
Yes.
talking about? Y'all better recognize he's been out here
No,
acting a long time.
I know. I'm just like, y'all, you don't know who that is. Really, you don't. Okay, but whatever. But yes, so the TV show that came out on Peacock, which is the first original series on Peacock to crack the Nielsen top 10. I'm so excited about it. The Best Man, the final chapters.
Mhm.
What is your, I will say, without getting into any serious spoilers? Well, already a spoiler if you didn't see the movie. They're older now,
Yes.
okay?
Still look
And
good. Still look
st-
good.
still look good. a lot has, some things haven't changed, but a lot
Mhm.
of things have. So, first of all, what did you think when one you first heard this series was announced? And second of all, what is your non-spoiler impression of the series?
I was excited. Like as far as throwbacks, that was one of my first like throwbacks to where I still couldn't edit myself, so the video was still going on because I was just talking. But I was finding myself. But that was the first one where I felt like I was in my bag and I could go back to see where, oh, I used to think Jordan and Harper were da 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 da, and Jordan and Harper are really problematic, and just really going back. And I always felt like Robin should have got on that plane and left, but she never did. But it's okay. But I love the idea of this show. Like I've gotten so many requests to like, are you going to talk about this show? And I have my little particular as far as like black sector shows or all black cast that I'm going to talk about. But every
Mhm.
single show that we get is the same thing. It's the same thing. Like I have a running little gag on my little my any stream. I'm like, you going to talk about this? I'm like, what? Are we selling crack in the 80s? Because that's all we get. we,
Mhm.
we we know we rarely get any variety. And since Insecure has gone, I'm like, what? Well, what's coming down the pipeline. So to see all of these people in this certain sector of their life, I love the fact that we're here at everybody's age. Everybody's like grown. We
Mhm.
see them, we're in 40s and 50s. It's just so great. And just to see, even though everybody's like all this upward mobility, everybody's like rich. Everybody's well off, but that doesn't take away from everybody still dealing with the same day-to-day progression of marriage and
Mhm.
relationships and just getting older. I love that. I just love to watch every single character and how it correlates back to when we first met them to now. Like a lot has changed, but a lot hasn't. Like you said, like
Mhm.
it's the same. But I think the show is just so great. Like it's not perfect. I can't wait for you to finish. I can't wait for you to finish it because there is so much to be said about so many people. But I loved it. I felt like it was such a good time. And let's just say by the time I got to the ending, I was like, please do like one more. Like, can we get like just one more? It's so much more that I want to know. And for Malcolm D. Lee to be able to do that umpteen years later, still leave the audience like, I want to know more about these characters that we've gotten, two movies from and now a whole series. I still want some more.
I had seen it pop up on my Fire TV because this was like during the holidays. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to make it a point to go back and watch it because I watch so much, I would say, like sci-fi and stuff like that
Yeah.
for my channel. So I get back from the holidays, and one of my friends, shout out to Anzo of Big Inford Entertainment, I think he had put on Twitter, he said, and we'll say y'all in general, keep saying, representation and, the way that we're represented. How many of you have watched Best Man, the final chapters? I said, thank you for bringing that up because I actually have that on my watch list. So I'm actually going to get ready to go and watch it. And from the first episode, I was just hooked. I'm like, wait, what do you mean Quentin getting married?
Yeah.
Does Shelby know about this? That was my first question, and I loved how they played that
Mm,
throughout the whole
yes.
throughout
Let
the
me
whole
just
thing.
say, Shelby and Quentin, that's my favorite couple. That like
Sad.
the progression from the Shelby we first met and the Quentin we first met to the Shelby and Quentin we get by the time it's finished. Favorite couple.
And you and me both. I mean, even up to the 4 episodes that I've seen,
Mm.
just the progression of their relationship. I was just very pleased with how they did it. First of all, they kept it real because there was just no darn way she was gonna go silently into the night and Quentin's gonna marry some other chick.
I
No.
loved it. Cause like, oh, I'm just so glad she's gone, ruining my life. Like, yeah, she's like, oh, she like gone. What you mean she gone? Like for real? Like, well, I ain't
I
want to
know.
leave.
It's like, you
I
mean
wanted to
like
go for
for
real.
real?
Leave her here.
And he's all in the oh Lord, that scene in the airport.
I love
That
the
scene
scene
in
in
the
the
airport.
airport.
Get your
Like
ass.
there's
Oh,
there's so many little nuggets of callbacks to the first movie, and I was thinking
uh-huh.
about Robin and Harper in the airport. I was like, this is so smart. I love it.
I loved it. I was just sitting there. I'm like, this is so good. I can't believe how good this is. Cause it was like the Shelby and Quentin that you remember from the first movie, but a different way that they're forced to learn how to interact with each other. And that's character growth. And that's
Yeah.
something that is like the bread and butter when you're a viewer watching. It's just like, give us something we recognize, but at the same time, give us something that's
Yes,
different.
it's fresh. It's very fresh. How do you feel about Harper to this day as a character?
I still can't stand him.
Okay, long as we're on the same page.
And I want to say I'm biased. I'm biased because I first saw The Best Man with one of my exes who was pretty much like Harper. So I'm already prejudiced from that point of view. I no,
Well,
I
I'm
just did
gonna
not.
say something happened to Harper in the end that I completely disagree with. But Harper as a character as a whole, his growth as a human being has been ultimately trashed for two movies and a whole series. Like, Lord Harper. Like Harper is not my favorite, but I had to go back because I just love the throwback sector because I have, and even not even going back because a lot of these movies, I'm 32. I watched a lot of these things. I was supposed to be watching them. I was not supposed to be watching them, and I couldn't even dissect or tell you what. Like, oh, I can't even. I didn't know any better. But once you had some life experience, you can go back. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
this was terrible. Like, oh shit, it's just so great. So just to go back and see the show and just revert that back to decisions you felt like should have been made in the first two
Mhm.
movies. It's just like, oh, but it's so great. I can't wait for you to be finished because I need him to give us just one more season and I'll shut up.
I'm so happy with what I'm seeing. I mean, I was trying to watch the additional episodes, but I fell asleep because I was tired, not because it was boring.
Oh no, not at
And
all.
I'm waking up, I'm like, what the no, 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 no,
Oh,
no, stop it. Stop. I don't want to hear. I don't
never
I have
gonna
to
be a
go
dull
back.
moment. Lance is running around like a bunny rabbit. It's nothing's dull about
Aside from Quentin, I did love Lance.
that.
And what they did with his character, I mean, I was like, why y'all have to go and do that? But at the same time, it
Like that's
was
Lance.
yes.
I would expect him to revert back to his premarital energy. I was
Hmm.
like, because I was like, at first I was like, what? Why? Lance? Like, why we have Lance out here like this? Because we've been so accustomed, especially if you freshly watched Best Man's Holiday. Like, that's Mia's husband. Like, why is he out here like this? But I have to remember, like, he's not only still grieving, but
Yeah.
previous to being anybody's husband, Lance was that type of Lance. So it's very reasonable for him to revert back to being that.
Yeah, pretty much. And his friends just kind of like, well, hey, that's what they're just like, me is not here. This is
Yes,
this is
I loved
this is
it
who
because
we remember.
I was scared that first episode when they began to talk about, I think, Candace, and they were joking about her. I was like, we have another series or show, or whatever, and we're still talking about the fact that Candace was a stripper. I'm going off because she has grown. She is not that anymore. She is not Candy. She is Candace. She is married with children. Like, we better not stay here. So I was glad that that wasn't a factor.
But for real, folks, if you have not watched The Best Man, the final chapters, you definitely need to check it out. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I cannot wait to finish and check that out. Well, first of all, struggle reviews. It has been a pleasure, an Absolute pleasure having you on my channel. I'm going to pop this up again to show you guys where you can find her. Of course, you can find her on YouTube. If you're
Yes.
not subscribed to her, you need to be because you were missing out on some very good content. Excellent content. And of course, you can also follow her on Instagram as well. So, as we close out, is there anything additional that you would like folks to know about you and your channel?
No, I just love being here. Like I'm happy to be here. I'm happy. I'm just so thankful that you had me here just to speak with me. Like I try to put out content. I try. I'm gonna promise, but I try to give content at least up to 3 times a week. If sometimes it might be two, but I give my all with every single post. I don't care what the topic is and what the film is. Like it's really great, and I just my channel is like an extension of myself, my personality, my energy. So if you're looking to have a good time and kick off your shoes, because it's gonna take a while. It's gonna, it's gonna be 30 minutes, but in that 30 minutes, it's like it's endorphins, it's nostalgic. Like I've had so many people, what keeps me going is like this really made my day better. Like this video made me smile, and that just warms me so much. So if I can do that for anybody here and they would care to come and check me out, please do so.
Okay, well, folks, you heard that. Please do go subscribe to Struggle Reviews, watch her content, and again, thank you so much for being on. And, folks, we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.